Welcome to the Global Fantasy Sports Forum, and we are back, and we are going to be bringing you some F1 content, and we had the Bahrain Grand Prix end last week, and we're going to be on the verge of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the second race of the Formula 1 season, and I had some mixed results. I don't think I did amazing across my three teams. I think the highest points total I had was about 199 points. Which I'll show you guys in a bit. But yeah, look, it's a very rocky start, but still a long season to go, and we're still trying to get a feeling of how the cars will shape up and how they'll perform. And a lot of changes can be made, and a lot of things can differentiate throughout the season. But one big thing we want to talk about is Alpine. Alpine did not have they had a really poor weekend last week, and we're going to be diving into that and what their fantasy prospects will look like. But before we do that, if you haven't done so yet, if you're new to the Global Fantasy Sports Forum, hit the subscribe button and just follow us. If you're a big fan of fantasy, we're going to be doing fantasy across F1, NRL, AFL, the EPL, and the NBA. So lots and lots of stuff to go over. We're going to try to be a community where experienced and rookie players can come together, share ideas, share thoughts, and we're going to be bringing you on the week-to-week basis the tough decisions, the tough questions that you are thinking of for your fantasy teams, and hopefully we'll be tackling some topics that will really benefit a lot of fantasy players. And also, if you haven't done so, like the video, hit the thumbs up, as it helps the channel and the video do wonders. And hopefully you guys will be able to help get this video out there to fantasy and Formula 1 fans alike. But let's not waste too much time. Let's get into our Formula 1 fantasy topic. And earlier this week we had some resignations from the Alpine team, and you had their technical director and the head of aerodynamics resigning earlier in the week after a horrible Bahrain Grand Prix. Qualifying was a shambles, and they weren't able to score any points as well in the race. Now Alpine, it seems like they've really lagged and they've really fallen behind compared to other teams, and it's going to be really interesting to see if they can get their act together. There's a lot of bad feeling and bad sort of vibes around the Alpine team at the moment. I think a lot of people are sort of looking at them as a bit of a laughing stock at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, can they bounce back? What can they do to right the ship? If we look at the Formula 1 fantasy scene, I'm pretty sure before the Bahrain Grand Prix, I'm pretty sure that Alpine were selected 20+%. I think over 20% of teams had selected them, but they've dropped significantly. Only 9% currently of fantasy teams have Alpine as part of their constructors lineup, and that is around Kick Sauber and Haas levels. So it's very interesting to see is Alpine going to be somebody that can get their act together and at least compete for Q2. I mean, they should be able to compete for Q2 in qualifying, but can they make Q2 consistently? And interestingly enough, there are some like with fantasy in F1, there are some benefits when you start towards the back of the grid. A lot of overtaking spots, and you look at outside of the 5 teams that scored points, Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Aston Martin, Alpine actually outperformed the other constructors because guys like Ocon and Gasly were able to overtake and make up spots. So if we have a look at what happened at Bahrain, obviously no driver making Q2 means -1, but when you look into the actual race itself, they were able to conduct a few overtakes and gain a few race positions, and overall they scored 12 points, which is better than Kick Sauber, Haas, the Red Bull Junior team, and Williams. So is it somebody that are Alpine a team we should remove, or should we stick with them? Because if they do suffer in qualifying, they're probably going to be a bit better in terms of race pace than other teams. For me, I've decided to move away from McLaren. If we have a look, sorry, move away from Alpine. I'm just getting all my teams mixed up. I've decided to go for Kick Sauber. So in terms of, these are my 3 teams, and Team 3 is doing the best out of all 3 teams with 199 points. But Team 2 is where I had Alpine, right? Alpine I had, and I downgraded to Kick Sauber. Now, I guess my thought process for that is Kick Sauber, they scored 10 points themselves, but they are, 1.8 mil cheaper. And it's now I've got, with this team, this was in fact my worst performing team. I had Lewis Hamilton, who I gave the double points to, and Lewis Hamilton was extremely disappointing in that weekend. I should have double pointed, or I should have made Charles Leclerc my captain and given him the boost. But yeah, look, I've got a lot more flexibility to move around with this team. And I guess it gives me the opportunity, should I want to upgrade George Russell to potentially, a Sergio or, a Lando should he start killing it again. Or I can even, move Lance Stroll into this team if I want to have a third decent driver, because, Yuki, Gasly and Bottas, who knows if they'll be reliable. So I could bring Lance Stroll, who could be a nice piece there. But yeah, I'm liking this flexibility. So that's the reason why. For me, if you want to downgrade Alpine, I think Kick Sauber would be a good option. And yeah, I definitely don't blame people for jumping off the Alpine train. Yes, there are some benefits where if you start from the back of the grid, you can definitely make up spots. But I think, Kick Sauber, they'll have chances to make Q2. And I'm sure they'll be, in that 10 to 15 range where they can potentially fight for points as well, and overtake some drivers and make up some spots as well. And as long as you have one driver in Q2, whether that be Zhou or Bottas, I think they'll be okay. So yeah, for me, should you get rid of Alpine, I am on the kick Alpine off the bandwagon. So I've removed them, and I think until they instill any confidence, it could be a long year for Alpine. It really could be. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys disagree or agree? Is Alpine a good constructor to have in your fantasy team? If so, let me know what you guys think and why. But I've gotten rid of him. And let me know what changes you guys have made for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And yeah, can't wait for the weekend of racing to start. Discuss away and take care.